Well, hello there, everybody. This is the Comedy Thief, and guess what? You're watching.
Funny old guys.
That's what we're doing here.
Oh, I like that.
The bugler is in fine
Oh, there
form.
we are.
Fine
Yeah.
form. Up, even finer form. So, anyway, this is a joke-a-thon. You've probably heard and seen us before. We're brilliant and hysterically funny. Yeah? Before we get started, I want to introduce the famous surgeon, the man with the cold hands and the warm heart, Dr. Fatpacker. Say hello.
Well, guten Tag, everybody. So nice to have you with us today. By the way, I would laugh if I were you or an ugly man would look in your window.
And if you don't, we
Remember
come
we
after.
used to say that?
Well, if you don't, we come after you, right? And
Oh, yeah,
Balmy
none
is.
of that.
Don't say anything there, Dr. Fatpacker.
I don't know, but let's
Senator
see.
Glenn from the great state of Utah, a learned man he is. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Remember, vote often.
Is
Just
there
do
more
that.
to that?
I know. There it goes.
Whatever.
Once a month
Okay, so
just
anyway,
isn't enough, is it?
I I may sound okay. I'm in the downside of a monstrous cold. Just want to let you know. So if I
Oh,
go rambling off somewhere, you'll understand. So, Dr. Fatpacker,
Pretty much a normal, funny old guys.
yeah, yeah, well,
I
yeah.
have two words for you, Senator, but I'm not going to use them on this video. So,
I didn't know it was his birthday.
Dr. Fatpacker, start us.
Yeah, well, hey, I've got three dad jokes for you. Oh, these are so funny. I thought I had to think about them though. So I thought the dryer was shrinking my clothes.
Yes?
It turns out it was the refrigerator all along. See, that's fine. It took me a while to get that figured out. The food in the refrigerator was what was shrinking my clothes.
Oh, now I understand. Thank you very
Well,
much.
yeah, I know it took me a while. I found out I only know 25 letters of the alphabet.
Yes?
I don't know why.
Oh boy.
And finally, I don't know what the best thing about Switzerland is, but the flag is a big plus.
Oh! Senator Glenn, it's your turn.
Well, the other day my wife called me in a panic, and I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "Well, that these young thugs came and they forced me out of the car and they carjacked our car. Our car was stolen." I
Woo!
said,
Oh my.
I said, "Oh no." She said, "Well, don't worry though. I got the license plate number."
Oh, there you go.
That's funny. That and even at my diminished state, I got that. Anyway, I mentioned my cold.
Yeah.
It started late Friday night or Saturday. I'm in bed. I sleeping. I was an absolute mess. It was a huge cold. In fact, it was so extreme.
How extreme
How
was it?
extreme was it?
It was so extreme that when I went to the doctor, I walked to his office. He took his fingers and made the sign of the cross and said, "Get the hell out of my office." That's how extreme it was.
That's
Oh
pretty
my
extreme.
goodness. Well, I wouldn't have done that if you came into my office.
Yeah, well, thank you. You'd
I
be
You
would
would have
use
got past
stronger
my security
language.
guards. So
But yeah.
you'd be dead too, there, doctor.
Oh, I can imagine.
Go
So
ahead.
this wife suspected her husband of having an affair with the housemaid and decided to catch him in the act. So on Friday, she told the maid to take the day off. That night, she crept into the maid's room and turned out all of the lights and slipped into her bed in total darkness.
Uh,
As expected, around midnight, she heard footsteps approaching. This figure entered the room and climbed into the bed beside her. After a few passionate kisses, the wife's anger reached its peak and she suddenly turned on the lights and screamed, "Surprise!" And the chauffeur said to her, "Very much so, ma'am."
surprise. Go ahead.
Well, I did that ancestry thing. Go back and find your roots and things.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I found out that one of my ancestors actually graduated from the first class of Harvard in 1642.
Wow.
Yeah, he just finished paying off his loan.
Wow. Whoa.
Well, this cold I'm just getting over was so extreme.
How extreme
How
is it?
extreme is it?
It was so extreme that the Kleenex company has just made me the 2025 poster boy. That's what. Yeah. So there.
Well, very good. Jawohl. So I was in the bar the other day, and Larry, a friend of mine, he's 65 years old. He's a fabulously rich widower. He
Wow.
came into the bar with a stunning 25-year-old brunette by his side.
Ooh.
Well, she dazzled everybody with her youthful energy and engaging personality, never leaving Larry's arm.
Wow.
And so I pulled him aside and I said, Larry, how'd you land such a knockout partner? And Larry grins, partner? She's my wife. And I said, well, how in the world did you convince her to marry you? And Larry looks at me, he goes, I fudged a bit about my age. When I said, oh, so you told her you were 50? He goes, no, I told her I was 95.
Oh. Go
Hey,
ahead.
I've been doing a lot of studying about wine, and I've become quite the connoisseur. Yeah,
Ooh.
I now know what wine goes best with breakfast cereal.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a very good start to your day.
You know what kind of wine it is?
White with fruity pebbles, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask that.
Well, believe it or not, guys, my
Yeah.
father is still alive. He's
Really?
Wow.
this January he turned 99. All right, you're
Wow.
Good
talking
for him.
old. And so I said, Dad, I says, what do you want for your birthday? And he said, I'd like a boner, right? And I said, I can't help you with that. But we decided to give him a surprise birthday party. Everybody came over to his house. It was really nice, right? And we hired a stripper just as a fun thing to come in and dance for my dad. And so everybody's there. Well, the front doorbell rings, and one of the grandkids goes there and says, Grandpa, great grandpa, it's for you. And so my dad goes to the door. Here's this beautiful girl with this long coat. She opens it up. She's totally naked. And she goes, super sex. And my dad said, well, at my age, I better take the soup. Dr. Fatpacker.
But a few years ago, the Sierra Club and the United States Forest Service were presenting an alternative to Wyoming ranchers for controlling the coyote population. It seemed that over the years, the ranchers used the tried and true methods of shooting and or trapping, and the tree huggers had a more humane solution, What they proposed was for the animals to be captured alive, the males castrated, and then let loose again. And thus the population would be controlled. Says, well, all the ranchers thought about this amazing idea for a couple of minutes. Then finally an old guy in the back stood up, kicked his hat back and said, son, I don't think you'll understand the problem. These coyotes aren't screwing our sheep. They're eating them.
Excuse me. I'm all choked up.
One of the things about we getting up in the morning at our age and everything, it's like I've got arthritis everywhere, my neck, my shoulders, my back. But you know what? Just because I have arthritis doesn't mean that I can't live a normal. Ow. Anyway, I do have a joke here. My wife and I, we've been married now, over 40 years.
Wow.
And yeah, but it was interesting. I don't know if you ever heard how we met. We met at a castanet class. I don't know. We just clicked.
Oh, well, there was this paranormal convention
Yeah.
in San Diego. They have it every year. And they have the same brilliant speaker as one of the speakers there at this convention for paranormal activities. And so he gets up there, and there's a group of at least 500 people in the auditorium, and he says, so here are the questions as a part of this overall seminar. He says, how many of you have ever felt the presence of a ghost? And about 3/4 of the 500 raised their hands. He says, question number two says, how many of you have ever seen a ghost? And likewise, about 3/4 of the people in the audience raised their hands.
Wow.
And then he says, and how many of you have actually touched the image of a ghost? And it went way down to probably a quarter of the audience of 500. And here's the last question. He says, how many of you have ever had sex with a ghost? Right? Nobody raised their hand except for this one guy in the back, and he's jumping up and down. Jumping up and down, he's screaming, he's yelling, but this guy is dirty as can be. He hasn't shaved in probably 3 weeks. His clothes are dirty, his pants are torn. And the speaker says, sir, come up. Nobody has ever had a positive answer for that question. Come on up. And everybody stands up and applauds this guy. Have you heard this one before? No. Well, anyway, so he gets up there, jumps on the stage, and the speaker says, is it true, sir? Is it true, you toothless wonder? Did you actually have sex with a ghost? The guy said, ghost? I thought you said goat. Last one, Dr. Fatpacker.
That joke was bad.
Oh!
Well, one afternoon, this man comes home early from work and finds his wife lying in bed, puffing and panting. Then concerned, he says, what are you doing? Well, she's caught off guard, and she says, I think I'm having a heart attack. Well, alarmed, the husband exclaims, oh no, I'll call an ambulance. He rushes downstairs to call 911 when he notices his young son, Johnny, was crying. When he goes, well, what's wrong, son? And through his tear, Johnny says, Uncle James is in the closet with no clothes on, Daddy. Well, furious, the man storms back upstairs, flings open the closet door, and sure enough, he finds his brother standing there completely naked. Outraged, the man goes, you idiot, Jim. My wife is having a heart attack and you're running around naked scaring my son.
Yes, that is the scariest thing. So anyway, we're done with the jokes, but we're not done because we have a point of conversation just between the three of us. You ready?
And pray tell.
Okay. You have 2 girlfriends. Each one is unaware of the other person's existence. They don't even know each other. So anyway,
that's a good thing.
And each one is very protective and jealous. So one day you walk into your local fitness center to find both of your girlfriends at the fitness center. Now, undoubtedly, each one of you of them expects that you run over, give them a kiss and a hug and so forth. It's a dilemma. So the question is, what direction do you go between the two? What do you do, and how do you get out of this mess, Dr. Fatpacker?
Well, I thought about this, and I think what I would do was announce loudly. I said, oh, I need something from my car. Now, each of them will think that I was talking to them. So then I just drive away, and I'll call each one later and make an excuse up.
Well, that's beautiful. It's a talk about a dilemma.
It would work for me.
Dr. Fatpacker, what would you
Well, I can tell you again, but I'm going to tell you the same thing.
Okay. Well, see,
listen,
I'm old, folks. I'm old and I'm sick.
Okay. Well,
That's
see,
a
I would never get in that position in the first place because when I was dating two girls at the same time, I made sure both of them were blind.
Oh, good plan. Good plan.
that is perfect. Oh my God. Well, what I would do, this isn't very funny, but it's just happens to be. I would go up. It doesn't matter which one first. You go up to the one, you give them a nice hug, and then you go to the other one, give her a nice hug, and you say, uh, "Girls, come together. I want to meet you. Have you meet each other, right?" And then I would say, "I know one of you professionally, and we're just good friends, and I know the other who is the sweetest girl I've ever dated." All right. And then I would say, "Oh my goodness, my my pager just went off. How's that for being old? I have to leave. It's an emergency." So anyway, they would both feel wonderful because one were thinking that the girlfriend he was talking to the one, and professionally just a good friend to the other, and they would both walk away happy.
And what if they both turn to each other and say, "How do you know him professionally?"
Yeah.
Well,
I have just one thing to say about that. You're an idiot.
and I'd also lose two girlfriends. So what the hell?
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
no problem there.
we're done. We thank you. It's been a real good time here. I'm glad you enjoyed our immensely funny humor. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot. We invite a famous person to be on our very next video. Okay, so the person we're going to invite, I didn't even know she was still alive.
Oh, really?
Billie Jean King, the former tennis great. So, Billie Jean, you're going to be our very next Funny Old Guys video, but there's a rule. You have to check in at funnyoldguys@gmail.com within 24 hours, or, Billie Jean, you'll be going into the trash bin. So, this is the Comedy Thief saying goodbye and farewell. Pass it along to Dr. Fat Packer for his goodbye and his farewell.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What a good idea for that. Billie Jean King, amazing, isn't it? I love her stroke. So listen, before you go, please go down to the bottom and subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. That would be very nice, and it'd help us a lot too. Oh, and by the way, perhaps you want some friends to listen to our podcast and that. Well, we have a solution for you just in case you forgot. You send us an email at funnyoldguys@gmail.com. We will send you one of these fancy dancy business cards. See, that's a funny old guy there. Oh, and it has our YouTube address on there, and you can pass them out to your friends, and then everybody could watch and laugh with us together. I'll be the same.
And
And
Senator Glenn from
it's
Utah.
great. It's great that Billie Jean is coming, tennis is, 30 love, 40 love. I don't care how old they are.
Hey,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
okay. All right. Everybody wave goodbye. We're out of here, and we'll see you all down the road.